Yo, this is the Ancient Texan. I'm going to talk about the second in a series of wealth inequality. The first talk was telling you the basics. The top 1% has 30% of the nation's wealth. The bottom 50% has like 3% of the nation's wealth. And you divide it. You don't each have 3%. You divide it among all of you. And it's getting worse. It's accelerating. If you were looking at rivers, the river flowing to the north, to the rich people, is getting bigger, more water in it, and it's moving fast. The money coming to the bottom half is a trickle, and it's getting smaller. One wonders how small it can be without just being turned off. Now, our tendency is always to blame the other side. And I kind of wore this shirt to make a point. Make America normal. You might know whose shirt that belonged to, and then if you looked at it and figured out that she is a Republican, you might decide I'm on the Republican side. And if I tell you I'm an independent, the whatever position I take on any issue, if it aligns with the Democratic side, you'll say I'm a Democrat. And if it aligns with the Republican point of view, you'll probably decide I'm a Republican. And then thereafter, you'll make a decision I'm good or bad, depending on where I align. Well, I align more on one side than the other, but I actually am the center of most issues, and I at least try to know what the issue is from both sides. I'm an American first. Clear cut, clear cut. I'm an American. And I'll go to whichever party works on the issues that I think are important. And I think wealth and inequality is the issue that I'm going to spend the rest of my life on. Every issue that you come up with is made worse by wealth inequality. There isn't a problem that doesn't become easier to solve if you work on wealth inequality. And the trouble is, neither party is motivated to work on wealth inequality. The way it works, and you've probably been told the way it works by a million people, so who the hell knows why you should listen to me. But the rich people sit around and say, how could we get more money? And depending on where your money comes from, you want different laws passed. But all rich people want laws passed that help them get more money from their money stream. And I'm going to do a little pause here. And then I've got perplexity, and I'm going to ask it a simple question. If I got my money from oil, what kind of laws do I want passed to get more money from oil? Not just the billions I'm already getting, but how do I get more money from oil? Okay, I asked perplexity, if I'm a rich person working in the oil industry, what laws do I need passed to get more money? More money. Well, it gave me something quite long and quite a list of laws. Amazing. First, we want reduced royalty rates and leasing incentives. Like the House bill, Natural Resources Committee's proposal to cut offshore and onshore royalty rates from 16.7% to 12.5%. This increases profit margin, and me as a oil tycoon gives me more money. Mandatory lease sales support requirements for regular oil and gas lease auctions in resource rich regions like the Alaskan Arctic National Wildlife Refuge and the Gulf of Mexico. More leases for more money. Royalty relief extension. Advocate for waivers or reductions in royalties for drilling on federal land. So give me some lobbyists. Go find some legislators that are friendly to oil. Probably I'd go to find more Republican. I would write some laws up, my law firm, write some laws up, hand it to these congressmen and say, if you support me on this, I think we could help you get reelected. Deal? Tax code advantages. Percentage depletion allowance. Lobby to retain or expand this tax break, which allows deducting 15% of gross income from oil and gas properties annually. Sounds like accelerated depreciation. And if you know how you add, you figure out your cash flow and then you add back in the depreciated amount. Then you take your taxes off and then you add back in to get the total, tax flow after taxes. It's an accounting thing, but it works. If you can accelerate your depreciation, you can reduce your taxes because you count that as an expense, so you're not taxed on it. But in real life, you still have the money. You get the same thing when you own a rental house if you get to accelerate the depreciation faster. And we want to have intangible drilling cost. Ensure immediate deductibility of drilling related expenses to reduce taxable income. Master limited partnerships, structures that let energy companies avoid corporate income taxes and pass profits directly to investors, which would be me, in theory. Well, there's a whole list of laws and stuff that people in the oil industry here are want. There's a whole bunch of people that want money to get reelected. Sounds like an easy formula. I write these laws up, get more money to me, and I happen to be on the top. I'm one of those 1%ers. So I got my law firm writing up stuff, and I'm going to give the money to the congressman, Republican, Democrat, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I just want somebody that will vote these laws and to sponsor them, especially get a sponsor, somebody that sits on a committee, get the law passed, get more money to me, get more money going to the top. Well, that money, if it didn't go to the top, it would get taxed and would go into the government, covering some of the expenses I have to pay as a common man. Might even come out in some, like lower drug costs or something, but, if you had the money going toward the bottom, We could find a lot of useful stuff for it, like helping with childcare costs. But I, as an oil person, am going to pass laws to make it go to the top. Okay, I just did another question. If I'm a rich person working for the tech giants, what laws do I want passed? If I'm, say, at Google or Apple or Amazon, what laws do I want passed to get more money as an investor in these industries and someone that's at the top and CEO and all that kind of stuff? How do I get more money? More money. I was quite surprised. There's quite a list of laws that are being passed to help the tech giants. We'll look later to see if there's some laws being passed to help you and me. First, they want some laws to restore and enhance R&D tax deductions. They don't want to count R&D as an investment into the future, which it is, and depreciate that money over a period of time as they realize their wealth. They want to take a deduction right away so they can call it a complete expense, and it takes away from their reported profits, and so they don't get their after-tax money is bigger. EBITDA. That's what it's all about. Earnings before interest, tax, and annualization. Something, I don't know. But it's based on cash flow. Doesn't really matter what your reported. You want your reported profits to be low when the actual money coming through is greater. And this helps your tax situation, helps you make more money. You also want favorable stock-based compensation rules. When you get stocks and stock options and stuff,
you Stock-based compensation, also known as share-based compensation or equity compensation, refers to the practice of compensating employees, executives, and directors of a company using equity in the business rather than, or in addition to, cash. This is typically done to motivate employees, align their interests with those of the company's shareholders, and conserve cash, especially for early-stage companies. Here's a breakdown of key aspects related to stock-based compensation rules. Types of equity compensation. Stock options. These give the employee the right to purchase a certain number of company shares at a fixed price, the grant or exercise price, for a specific period. The employee benefits if the stock price...
Whoa, I didn't even ask that. My phone was in the pocket and it started answering the question. But it knows my phone knows. Sponsored by Gemini, which is Google, was just explaining to me and you how this all works. They've got laws they want passed so that their stocks and stock options are treated as capital gains. Even if they happen this year and they should be counted as income, they want it to be treated as capital gains, so you just get a legislator to help you on that. Elon might be kind of close to the top. He might help talk to a few people up there at the Hill, get some laws passed to help him make more money go to the top. I'm sure as soon as he gets through with that, he's going to write some laws to help more money get to you. He's going to work on wealth inequality, and then all my concerns will be alleviated. There's a whole bunch here. Limit or preempt regulations. They don't want regulations on what they do. Like if you're Facebook and you're screwing up kids' life, they would like Congress people just don't pass any laws about that. If you're afraid of AI and, its bad effects, they don't want any laws on that. So by not passing laws on controlling your actions, they get more money. They don't have to deal with it. And they certainly don't want any taxes on their services. They want complete profit. So that's just another example. I'm trying to think of a third business. I'll think of a third one here, and we'll do that as an example. Okay, now I ask if I'm a rich dude and I own an AI data center, or I just own a data center in the sky, what laws do I want passed that I, as an AI owner, data center owner, investor, one of those 1% at the top, what laws do I pass? I want sales and use tax exemptions, like the bill in Kentucky, which offers a 50-year sales tax exemption. They passed a law that for 50 years, these guys at the top who are making billions of dollars, literally, not figuratively, they're making billions of dollars, like the Amazon data centers and Google, and Elon's got one, Microsoft. They're making billions. So they don't have to pay sales tax for 50 years if you're in Kentucky and you put a data center there. Anybody cutting off, and making you not have to pay sales tax? I'm sure they're going to get around that right away. Property tax abatements. Lobby for exemptions on data center equipment and infrastructure. As seen in Iowa, 100% abatement. Minnesota, 20-year exemption. Don't have to pay property tax. Sounds like a sweet deal to me. Don't have to pay property tax. These poor guys only making billions, and they don't want to have to pay the property tax that supports your schools and stuff. You can pay that. You can pay that for them. Suck more money out of the bottom, send more money to the top. That's the whole game. And it's not hard if you got money, lawyers, billions of dollars. Clean energy grants align with Biden's executive order to secure federal funding for renewable energy integration. R&D tax credits, infrastructure financing, get low interest loans for all your work, just like you get for your house. When if you're having a hard time, just ask for a low interest loan. Regulatory streamlining. Preempt the local laws and state laws with federal laws that say these guys they got the word from the top. You can't pass laws that suck money out of them. Zone flexibility. I know there's zoning stuff going on here, but not these guys. These guys, they can do whatever the hell they want. Also, they need better grids, so they have the federal government pass money to improve the grid so they have more availability to power. They also ask for lower rates for their energy, which we, the public, can pick up the slack. Block ratepayer protection bills. California passed a law that would force people that are going to make these big data centers to have to pay for the grid updates. But the guys at the top pass laws to block these bills. No sense having these poor Googles and Amazon suffer. No, not going to have that. public can pick up the cost. We want high-skill visa exemptions to get the best people in the world and pay them well instead of putting money into our schools and training people to do it from America. Pass laws like in Kentucky, a law that would expand the grid systems, $2 billion. They've even passed, they've working together the different tech companies to work together to do the lobbying so they can save money on the lobbying so they can get new laws without it costing them as much lobbying dollars. Fund lawmakers supporting tech-friendly policies mirroring the $72 million spent on oil gas lobbyists in 2024. Anyway, there's a whole string of them here. So, and I could take any rich person. Doesn't matter. Any of those rich people at the top that are getting money, they do it all the same way. They want laws passed that moves the money to them and away from you. And what are you doing? You're calling the Democrats' name or you're calling the Republicans' names. You guys are divided and you're falling for the lies that come from the top from rich people. Rich people want different laws passed so their little personal needs are taken care of. And they help write the scripts that make their side the good guy and the other side the bad guy. But neither side is the good guy. They're both screwing you. And as long as you keep screwing each other and thinking your enemy is the Democrats or Republicans, you're just being stupid. It's not complicated. You're being stupid. They're passing laws, the rich people are, that increase the amount of money that goes to them. And as that money's sucked up there, what does it leave for you? You figure it out. Figure out what's happening to you. Now, I don't know. The only one I've seen that even pretends to play the game is Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders. Rand Paul sometimes. But in general, it's I wouldn't pick the Democrats from what I just said, because I don't think as a whole they give a shit any more than the Republicans do. Republicans fixing to do a tax break. You're going to get a trickling of that. You're going to get a little just get a scent of it in the room while they get a bunch of cash. That is not what you need. And there's a whole different subject, but our taxes need, especially at the top, need to be increasing to get our federal debt under control. But this is lesson number 2 in wealth inequality. Blaming and fighting with the other side just gives the people at the top shelter and cover and keeps us arguing about stupid stuff that in the scheme of things doesn't matter. It keeps kind of flying under the radar, all these laws that are passing to increase the amount of money going to the top. The congressmen get their money they need for re-election. They get to do their insider trading and other shit. Because we're not able, as Republicans, Democrats, Independents, to unite and focus. Focus on wealth inequality, and almost everything you do on wealth inequality will help almost every issue you can think of. A lot of the things that are problems now just completely disappear if there's enough money going to the bottom. Money solves problems. Lack of money creates problems. They're sucking the money out of this country to the top, and we're putting up with it. If you can't see that we're getting screwed and it's not by the other side, we're just political junkies that argue and fight about shit that doesn't matter. If you want to know what's important, change where the money's going. Watch the money. The money is going to the top. The money is not coming to you. Until that is fixed, and we'll go into some ways we can fix that. But today's lesson is quit blaming the other side. They're as much of a victim as you are. You are a victim. You're getting screwed and you're bending over, holding your ankles, and then blaming the other side. This is the Ancient Texan, hoping that you pay attention to what's going on and start looking at where the problem's coming from. Quit being so hostile to the guy on the other side of the oil. That's a good slip there. The other guy on the other side of the aisle. I can't even say it. Money just seeps into my mouth and distorts my words. The guy on the other side is a victim just like you are. And if you two, you don't have to be buddy-buddy, but if you don't recognize that you got a common enemy and a common need to work together on, then you're going to keep getting screwed. It's simple. It's not complicated. Anyway, hope you have a good day, and if this talk was halfway effective, maybe you'll lose a little sleep tonight as you start reevaluating your priorities. This is the Ancient Texan. Namaste.